It's been 2 years since Marvel gave us the show She-Hulk. This 9 episode show had all the sides of the internet united against it. With its poor performance and low audience score, I don't think it will be getting another season, but maybe it should. Let's dive in. We can all agree that this show was bad, from how the story was developed to how they wrote some of the characters like Wong. Now, I've never read a She-Hulk comic before this show's release, and I don't know how the character's supposed to act, but this is just not the way to go. I do know some information. In the comics, Intelligentsia was a group that comprised of some of the most dangerous villains in Marvel Comics, and seemed to have acted similarly to Marvel's Illuminati, comic book version. But Intelligentsia in the MCU? And She-Hulk was just a bunch of angry internet dudes. Throughout the series, they were trying to steal She-Hulk's blood to give themselves power. On its own, it sounds like a good idea. But these aren't the angry internet dudes you would see in The Batman. Riddler built an army online to take down an entire city. Their agenda was clear, planned, calculated. If you want to do online enemies, that's how you do it. But here, Intelligentsia is just a bunch of dumb angry internet dudes
Intelligentsia is made up of exclusively dumb dudes
who hate She-Hulk for no apparent reason. Well, they have a reason, but it could have been handled better.
Would it be possible to play your clarinet a little better?
These dudes don't like her because she's a woman superhero who got powers because of nepotism? Really? I understand the message that they were trying to present, but it didn't work. Why were they so against She-Hulk? I mean, they said they were against Lady Thor too, and I think Captain Marvel, but like, why? What was their plan? Steal her blood, of course, but then what? She-Hulk wasn't even supposed to be at that event. So if she wasn't there, would they have attacked She-Hulk when she wasn't expecting it? So then, is Abomination a bad guy? Because he seemed like he not only enabled them, but knew what was going on. I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. Am I misremembering something? Now, there's a way to do this and make it work. Number one, make the bad guys smart, or if they want to keep them dumb, don't have Todd be the leader. What they should have done is have Todd there, but the person in charge of the event be a woman. Maybe someone like Titania or someone else who doesn't like She-Hulk because they are convicted by her, and the message could still be the same. This bad guy doesn't care about nepotism or She-Hulk is a woman, but a lot of other people do, and she used that to make She-Hulk into an enemy. Then you can have the followers say things like, how can what I'm saying being bad when a woman is saying it? This would be a great commentary on the internet today. While some people don't care about social issues, they're just using them to push their own personal agenda. And in this case, the villain's agenda would be stealing She-Hulk's blood so that she can defeat She-Hulk. I think this would have worked way better, but maybe you wouldn't like it. Maybe you were checked out as soon as this scene played.
Because I do it infinitely more than you.
And honestly, this scene wouldn't have been much of a problem if she wasn't talking to Bruce. It's not what you said, it's who you said it to. We can't go back and fix season 1. Maybe there is still a way to fix the situation. So with all that being said, should She-Hulk get a season 2? Well, just because season 1 wasn't bold and brash doesn't mean it belongs in the trash. The better thing to do would be to rebuild from the rubble. Something new. Season 2.
Something new. You got it.
This new and improved season would bring way more people back to Marvel, and it could be a rise to riches, a Phoenix Rising event. A superhero lawyer who doesn't have a secret identity, people would be attacking her all the time. You could even use more obscure villains that we haven't seen on screen before. This could be a villain of the week show, with an overarching story. I think season 1 attempted at this. They lost the plot somewhere along the way. They wanted to focus more on her everyday life instead of her being a superhero lawyer, which is fine, you can do that. But if it's not going to follow her being a superhero lawyer, then why make a She-Hulk show? It's like following the day of Matthew Murdock. What makes his normal life interesting is that he has to balance it with being Daredevil and being a lawyer. There are certain things he can't do as Daredevil because that would mess up the case. This exact thing happened in a Daredevil episode with Elektra. She-Hulk, on the other hand, never did that. They made us focus on our day-to-day life, but they never told us why we should care or connect to the world. There are a lot of good elements in season 1 of She-Hulk. Season 2 could learn from and improve upon, like trying to get her blood. Good idea. Having her deal with Abomination. Good idea. Group trying to take her down. Good idea. Be in the minority on this. Maybe Daredevil shouldn't have been in the show. And Johnny Blaze episode makes it look like Wong can't do his job. Why are you suing him? Just take the ring. The main issue with She-Hulk isn't the characters, it's the storytelling. Because of season 1, a lot of people wouldn't watch season 2. So it can't be mediocre. It would have to be amazing. Now, what would this new season be about? Anything. There are tons of MCU street level villains She-Hulk could deal with, and an endless amount of plot lines. It doesn't even have to be a She-Hulk villain. Now, of course, anything is good if you make it good. I'm not saying any show that isn't good deserves a second chance, but this isn't some random show. This is the MCU. It has a fan base. It's not like She-Hulk is a newer character. She's been around since the 80s. She-Hulk has a fan base, and I think a lot of people want to see this character done right. We got Sony to release Morbius back in theaters because they thought people wanted it. Manifest was cancelled. Because of fan push, Netflix gave us a 4th and final season. Because of the fans, we got to see Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio back as Daredevil and Kingpin. Because of the fans, we got to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. These were done by the fans of Marvel and people who read the comics and used to watch the shows on Saturday morning. If there's enough fan push, we can do it again. Now, this only works if they change the makers of the show. I wouldn't get rid of Jessica Gao, who is the current writer of She-Hulk. I would keep her on the project because, like I said, there's some good elements here. Just have someone else helm the project. And now, I know a lot of people would want Netflix Daredevil writers to do it, but I would get George Gillian Jr., or you may know him as the head writer of everyone's favorite criminal lawyer, Better Call Saul. I wasn't a big fan of the show's ending, but one thing Jessica Gao wanted in She-Hulk was to show a superhero's everyday life. And considering this is a lawyer show, who better than the writer of Better Call Saul? This show follows a lawyer who is trying to make a living and balance a normal life, and we see him go through different stages and develop into the person we see in Breaking Bad. One thing it does really well is putting Saul's world and Gus's world in a collision course. A downside to Better Call Saul, though, is that there are too many episodes and storylines, and I think it could have been cut shorter. But it makes sense. This is a 6-season show with 10 one-hour-long episodes per season. At some point, it's going to drag a little. This could work well for the MCU. A 6 to 8 episode show following a lawyer's day-to-day life on a collision course with a villain would be great. But if we want to see this, it's up to us, fans, to make this happen. Do you want to see this happen? I do. Hashtag She-Hulk Season 2. You know what? Before I go, I'm going to make 4 categories for what I would do for She-Hulk Season 2. And after watching this video, I want you to comment down below and lay out how you would do a Season 2. Category 1, Heroes. Category 2, Villains. Category 3, Plot. And Category 4, Ending. The first category is Heroes. The people we should be rooting for helping fight the villains. The first choice obviously is She-Hulk. She's the main character, and well, it's her show. Second would be Abomination. Like I said, this doesn't mean he is a hero, but he is going to be helping Jen, and I will get into how later. An appearance by Bruce, because why not? And of course the cameo, the thing that would not be revealed in the trailer. One of the best private detectives, MCU's very own Jessica Jones. These would be the heroes that would appear in a 6 to 9 episode show. Now that we have our heroes, let's talk about who they're going to be fighting. Category 2, Villains. First would be the notorious crime boss, Tombstone. Next would be Behemoth, which, if you don't know, is a human that can transform into a superhuman elephant. And finally, Ultima, who is another She-Hulk villain. You know what? I forgot about Titania. Now the plot. Tombstone would be getting arrested in California, and Jennifer Walters is the prosecutor. While Tombstone is in jail, he hires Titania, Behemoth, and Ultima to go after the witnesses and She-Hulk. She-Hulk will have to team up with the Abomination, and together they will have to fight to keep the witness and herself safe until the trial. While Jessica Jones is getting them the information for the trial because she has been investigating Tombstone since before he came to California from New York. And finally, the ending. Behemoth and Ultima would be sent to the raft while Titania gets away. At the end, Tombstone would be found not guilty of all crime and let free, and he heads back to his hometown. Then Jen will have an accident that lands her in the hospital needing a blood transfusion from Bruce to save her life. It doesn't take her long to heal, and once she does, she is on the next plane to Tombstone's home. Before she boards, she gives someone a call. Daredevil. While Daredevil's on the phone, the TV would say how Wilson Fisk is running for mayor. This brings in the after-credit scene of the Echo Show. This would set up She-Hulk and Daredevil fighting Kingpin and possibly a gang war between Kingpin and Tombstone. And that's how it would do Season 2. There are endless possibilities. Now I ask, would you want to see a Season 2 of She-Hulk? And if so, what would you want to happen? Here are the categories again. In the comments, write what you would want for each category. Maybe you don't want a Season 2. Maybe you want to see someone else write it. Maybe you think Peter should have been sued for breaking the multiverse open. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Laters, gators.